Hello, everybody. It's Stephen and Walter here for another edition of the So Chatty. And it is episode number 107. And it's July the 21st, 2023. My niece turned 30 today. Does that make me feel old? Yeah, very old. Don't say it.
Well, I got a nephew that's old, 45.
Oh, yeah, but you're really old. Of course, the fact is, I remember when he was like about 6 years old or 7 years old, or maybe less than that. Actually, how old is he?
45.
He was 5 years old. Holy crap. Anyways, that is not what's on today's discussion. We're not talking about being old age, although I just came back from the doctor because Walter insisted that I go to our doctor because of my arm hurting. And of course, she said basically what I figured. Well, if it doesn't hurt, don't do that. If it doesn't hurt when you do that, don't do it. And then she wrote me out a requisition for an x-ray and ultrasound, but she said, you know, if it starts to feel like it's getting worse and not getting better, then go ahead and do that then. Yeah, whatever. In the meantime, she's looking at my chart and goes, oh, haven't seen you for a while. Yes, I know. I don't like doctors. And she says, well, I should give you, and I've got them right here, a shingles vaccine, Shingrix. Oh, okay. And I probably should give you, because you're over 65.
You're old.
Yeah, I should give you a pneumonia shot. And so I had a pneumonia shot. So she shot me here. She shot me here. Then, of course, I needed to have blood work done, blood test, and a PSA, you know, got to check my prostate kind of a thing. So you pay extra for that in Ontario, unless you're a pre-conditioned thing or something like Walter. Walter doesn't have to pay for a PSA because, you know, problems down there. And then she's wants me to get a colonoscopy. I knew that was coming. Yeah. This is why I don't like going to doctors. It's like taking your car in for an oil change. They always find something else that should be done. Always. So anyways, had needles all stuck in my body every which way. And yeah, I'm full of holes now. Okay, enough about that. Let's talk about what I have been trying to work on in the last week. So first thing I've got up here is, this is the latest Quilts of Valor quilt that I haven't got it finished. The top is done. That's what you're seeing here. And I have it quilted. And that picture shows it. The only thing I'm missing is the binding. I have the binding all made. I just have to put it on. But I think it turned out pretty good. And I'll show you the quilting. I think I have another picture. Yeah, a little closer up there. So you can see I did these maple leaves and swirls. And when I say I did this, I mean Lucy did it. I told her what to do, and she did. And she did a very nice job. She was very cooperative with me. So, except for on the back of the quilt, there's a couple of spots where I have a little tiny bit of eyelashing, which means my tension was off. And I couldn't figure out what was happening, except that one of my thread was coming out of one of the pigtails, the pigtail closest to the needle. It was flipping out all the time, and I was flipping it back in. And I'm thinking, why is it doing that? Then I discovered what had happened. Out of the little ring, the tension ring or clamp, the thread had popped out of that and went behind it. So that's why I was getting the eyelashing on the back, because I really didn't have my thread going through the tension ring. It's not that big a deal because the back, as you can see, is very, very busy. And it didn't do it with everything that's on here. It's not consistent throughout the quilt, but I know where they are. And I'm not going to let you see this any longer because you'll sit here and point it out. Walter's already studying it. He's sitting here going, I've got to see this. Where is it? Where is it?
I don't think it was that noticeable.
Well, no, they weren't huge eyelashes with it. I'm going to call them a customization with it, but nobody looks at the back of the quilt. And as I said, the quilt's pretty busy, like the fabric I used on the back. So you really don't see the quilting that much. So yeah, but it figures. Every time I do something, if I made a quilt yet that was absolutely perfect from beginning to end, then that's when I'll enter it into
It's one of those moments where you're saying, I'm glad I don't quilt for other people.
Yeah, this is why I don't quilt for other people. The other thing I've been working on is this. This is the Art East cat scratch quilt. I bought that as a kit at the quilt show as well. And I've got 4 of the cats done. There's 2 more cats, 3 more cats. There's one that's by himself. You can see these 2 are just mirror images of each other. And then there's one by himself, and then there's 2 that are reaching up and scratching, and there's a block with scratch marks on it that you put together. Am I enjoying doing this quilt? Yes and no. It is a lot of little pieces, so you want to be pretty precise in your 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm not doing too bad on that. One thing that really ticked me off is if you notice on the cats that are stretching, their little bodies are a different color. Their bodies were supposed to be this color that's in these other 2. Reason being is there wasn't enough of this fabric included in it. In fact, you can't see it here, but I had to, no, sorry, their little bodies here were supposed to be the lighter color that's here. So it would carry on from the shoulders and that kind of thing in the same color in this part on his tail. There is a block down here and one up here, equivalent. You notice there's some extra seams in it because I had a piece, little strips that I had, what I had left of it.
Well, what are you going to do with the other 2 blocks? Are you going to have enough color for that?
I don't know, because there are colors in this that I don't think go with anything. Like they go with they're browns, but I don't know where they're supposed to go. Yeah, I'm looking at the cutting instructions, so I don't know. Now, I don't think this kit was, well, this kit might have been put together by Art East quilts, because the picture of the final quilt uses all these colors. However, he's a calico cat. And actually they designed it so that these ones I didn't run out of fabric. This is the fabric they called for. So he's doing them in sort of 2 tones anyways. I mean, it doesn't look out of place. They're comical, whatever. It'll work. I'll make the damn thing work. But that's the problem with kits sometimes. Now, someone's going to say, well, yeah, you cut your fabric wrong. Maybe. But most of the pieces were supposed to be cut in strips with the fabric. So that's what I cut. So, if I had about 2 inches, 3 inches more of fabric, there wouldn't have been a problem. But anyways, like I said, if there's ever a quilt that I have done where I didn't have to make a customization, that would be nice. And then this is just fooling around. You only see 3, but there are 4 blocks. I bought at the quilt show AccuQuilt die that makes this kind of wonky star. I think they call it Starry Patch is what they call it. And I made it with Christmas fabric. So I'm just really trying to get it out, and I'm debating whether I will do a whole bunch more of these in more Christmas fabric but different color scheme and put them all together as a quilt, or maybe I may just end up making these 4 blocks. I know you only see 3 blocks. Don't send me a comment saying I can't count. The 4th block is hanging there. I didn't get it in the picture. Okay. Into maybe just a simple table runner kind of thing. I wanted to try the block out. Yeah, once you've done one of the blocks with that, they're a little tricky to get them in the right position, but once you've done one, it makes logical sense and it works. Okay. All righty. So that's what I have been up to. And what have you been up to, Walter? How's my shirt?
That's still there.
Oh, got buttons on it yet?
No.
Oh, got buttonholes?
Nope. I haven't put a collar on it yet. And I have to finish sewing in the side yet.
Oh, so in other words, it'll be ready for next summer.
Well, I'll finish it soon.
Someday.
I'm not as preoccupied as...
Yes, he's been very preoccupied because Walter got his new car. Have we settled with the insurance company yet? No. How long has that been? Over 3.5 weeks. Almost 4, this coming Monday with them. So, yeah. But, so, tell us about your new car.
Well, I bought a new Honda CR-V hybrid. And it's the first hybrid I've ever had. So, it's... I have to get a little used to it. And the new models are bigger than the old models were. So,
it's a big
they
sector.
feel a lot bigger inside for me. I'm not used to driving a car that size. So.
And it's got a lot of buttons. A lot of buttons. It does everything except drive itself.
There's a bit of a learning curve to get.
Will I be driving it? Oh no. No, she comes out. Okay. We go over to Honda to pick it up. Was it yesterday? Yeah,
yesterday.
yesterday. And so she takes us out to the car. She's all excited because she's there. What do they call her? What's her job?
She's the one that just gives you the car.
Yeah,
Or she's the not deployment was I forget what she called it. She's the
pickup specialist.
yeah, something like that.
Something, whatever. And so she's got the key fob in her hand, and she says, "Okay, to get in the car, you hit this button 3 times. Don't hold it too long. Do a little skip. Walk around in a circle by the car. Do a handstand, and then put your leg in the door." She lost me at push this.
Yeah, well, I knew there's some things that you can do with the key fob to get it to do things like roll down all your windows at once type of thing and stuff like that.
So you can air your car out if it's
Yeah.
a really hot day before you get in.
Yeah, well, I'll probably won't be doing that anyway. So I just sort of glossed over when she was telling me that because
And then something to do with the seats are all powered, and you can program it into your key fob. There's 2 key fobs. And so, if I had a key fob, he had a key fob, and we had the seat programmed in for the way like he likes it, then if he saves it on the key fob somehow, when you get next time you get into the car,
well,
the
no,
seat adjusts
there's
automatically.
key fob 1 and key fob 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a memory set for whichever key fob you have.
Yeah. So if I got in with the other key fob and I'd already preset and saved the seating selection, the seat would go exactly where I want it to be. So yeah, whatever. It's got heated seats. It's got heated seats in the front and in the back. It's old car.
Got a heated steering wheel.
Ooh, a heated steering wheel too. Um, you have to do something with the windshield wipers if you want to change them or something.
Yeah, the windshield wipers. I'm not sure how that will work if it gets covered in snow. But you're not normally when you have windshield wipers in your car, you can just pull them up, right? Stand them up on end, right? And this you have to move them out into place and then stand them up.
Because the way that the hood is designed or something, it blocks them from your being able to do that.
I'm not too thrilled about that.
No, that's kind of stupid, I think. And it's got lots of other. It's got a navigation system on board, and it's got Honda Link or something that pairs with your phone. It's kind of like Apple Link or whatever. We've been in a car before, one of the rental cars we had, where you could hook your cell phones to it and everything like this. And I don't know. It's a lot of things happening in there. One thing I really like, I think is really cool, is it has a charging pad on the island between the 2 seats in the front where you can just take your iPhone and just lay it on it and it'll charge your iPhone. Of course, you have to have one of the newer iPhones that does that
Well,
kind of thing.
yeah, it's not just iPhone; it'll do Android too.
Oh, will it?
So, yeah.
If they have that thing
If
built into
you
it.
have wireless charging,
Yeah.
it'll wirelessly.
Which I kind of like. And it's sort of a non-slip surface, so it sits there fairly securely. I've played with some of the buttons on the navigation and everything, but because it's a hybrid, and there's diagrams that come up on the screen showing you how it recharges itself. It does things I don't understand what it really does.
Well, it has a battery in it, right? So the battery will work in conjunction with the gas engine to try and make you use less fuel, right? So and then it has what they call regenerative braking, so that if you go up to speed, right, and then that takes up power, right? So that what it does is it captures when you brake again, it captures that wasted energy and puts it back into the battery. So
yeah, it's all this stuff for making it much more fuel efficient and all that kind of stuff. But the fun thing is when you're backing up the car, when you turn it on and you're backing it up and it's on the electric, on the battery at that point, someone said it sounds like angels. It does. It almost is heavenly.
and you know how this sounds?
What's that?
You've heard angels?
I've met a lot of angels. Yeah, none in this room. Yeah, but it sounds like a choir. It's going. As you go out, it's almost a religious experience. Of course, we've had to do some rearranging of cars here now. My baby, my vintage antique Honda, has only ever known the garage because that's where she sits, and she's very happy in there. Well, she's not happy right now because Walter has decided due
I
to
kicked her out of the garage.
he kicked my baby out and he's putting his baby in. But his baby's tiny bit wider than my car. And so it's like I've got to get some of those sticks the airplane guys use for him to, okay, this
Well, see, I'm not
way.
used to parking in the garage, so
Yeah, we know that. I've seen my mirror. Yeah, about that. But anyways, I guess you'll get used to it. You're going to have to. But my baby is out in the elements now, and she's not used to that at all. Of course, he's putting it in the garage now because his car model is one of the ones that's very desirable for thieving or being thieved. So it's got some kind of anti-theft thing on it,
but I
according to
think it's
Honda.
useless. So
But he's looking at another system that you can buy and put onto it. Isn't it? It's a real shame this day and age where we have to, you have to basically nail everything down. Even then, they'll take it. And they don't care about having cameras out in your yard and that. We're talking about getting another ring type camera thing that has a siren in it as well and floodlights.
yeah, but I've read too that all that really basically does is gives some more light to see what
See
they're
what they're
doing.
doing. Yeah, figures, right? So I don't know with it. Of course, the lady who was helping us at Honda, she was very reassuring about this. Just my mother has had the exact same car for the last 2 years, and she's never had a problem with it being stolen. And that's supposed to make us feel better. Well, I know her mother lives out in the middle of nowhere where thieves would not go. I don't know. Like that, that's just your typical car salesman pitch. In fact, I went in with him into the dealership when he's getting the car. And I'm looking around and this place is full of assholes. This smells like assholes. It looks like assholes. They talk like assholes. Because I don't think there's anything worse than a car salesman. Maybe real estate. Um, but like they were just all slimy. They are. I'm sorry if you've got a relative that works in that, I still feel that they're slimy and I don't want to meet them. Okay. That's how strongly I feel about that. Well, anyways, we have the new car. Now, if we could just get the insurance to settle so we can move on with our lives. Boy, I've never wanted to go and look up that old lady's address and walk up to her door and choke her like I do these days. But anyways. Okay, let's get off that topic. What's coming up? Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, 9 a.m. Wednesday mornings. Be there, be square. Link is in the show notes. And that's about it for updates. So today is all about your comments because there were some very interesting comments that we're going to kind of extend a little bit. And we're going to start off with comments that came, our follow-up comments to our live last Sunday. Quilting by Faith wrote, thank you for explaining YouTube. I have many creators I like to watch. Always wondered why some of them, all sewing and quilting, ask for subscribers and bell ringers. Some say exactly what you mentioned about supporting their channel, then show us the huge stashes of fabric they have purchased. Now, if you didn't see that or remember what we talked about, I said that I'm trying to remember, in fact, if you haven't already subscribed to us, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and give us a thumbs up. It all helps. I don't usually say that. I'm trying to get more into the habit of it, but everybody says that. And I'm trying to get up to 10,000 subscribers for the end of the year. I don't think I'm going to make it. I'm not quite at 9,000. I'm getting there. And why do I want to get to 10,000? Just because. Doesn't get me anything. Okay, just because.
It's a nice round number.
It's a nice round number. Well, according to Stephanie at Stephanie Stitches, she says that once you get over 10,000, the algorithms in YouTube kind of make your YouTube channel more recommended because that's what she found when she hit 10,000. I think she's over 15,000 now or more, and rightly so that she should be. But what the comment here is about and see all their huge stashes of fabric. There are some that get on here, as we said, and they'll go, it really helps me. And you know, your support allows me to keep bringing you my content. Like as if, you know, this is an expensive hobby. Well, it can be if you want it to be. But as we said on Stephen and Walter Live, and I'm not going to go over it again, you already have the equipment. Everybody does. I mean, sure, it may not be sophisticated equipment, but you know, if you've got a computer with a camera on it, you can do YouTube. That's all you need. And the way computers are these days, the way the cameras are in them, and the way the sound system and the microphone system works, you get pretty good quality just from that alone. But these other ones keep like as though, you know, it's almost a threat. If you don't subscribe to me, I won't be able to continue doing this. You won't see any more of my videos. Some cases, that's not a bad thing. But anyways, that's why this person made that comment. And then, of course, she says they show you huge stashes of fabric. So who's paying for that? Right? Okay, so another comment that came up had to do with my grandmother's quilt. And this person said it would be nice if you could display both quilts together or three of them. Well, I thought that is kind of an interesting idea because my brother was here on Monday. They're out sort of visiting with family, but they're here mainly because his mother-in-law needs to be rehomed in a place that can look after her because she's got dementia and Alzheimer's, and so they're out getting that arranged. And he brought with him the quilt my grandmother made for him. Actually, she made 5 of them, one for each of her grandchildren. And I ended up with the one that's in colors that I don't really care for. It's a beautiful quilt, but I don't care for the colors. And I always want the blue one. My brother ended up with it. I guess my brother thought that when we were out west and we were talking about it, that I really wanted that quilt. But it's his quilt. So he put it in his suitcase on the flight out here and he brought it to me so I could have it. Well, I said to him, really, it's your quilt, you know? And he says, no, he says it's been sitting in a plastic bag under his daughter's, my oldest niece's bed for years. So obviously he doesn't have the same kind or doesn't associate the same value with the quilt that I would. So now it's in my hands. He says, so he says, you might as well have it. So anyways, I have it and here it is. Oops, wrong button. There it is. That's it. You know, when I look at it now, I had a better memory of it. The blues are, I like blue, but I kind of like the one that I ended up with a little better than this one. But there's some things a little different about this quilt I noticed. For one thing, one of the things that really popped into my mind after I washed it and dried it was this. It has rounded corners. Here's the one I got. Corners aren't rounded. And we're not sure about the size. Walter thinks that the borders are what, a little wider on this one?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But I have a feeling it has to do with the fact that she used a print in this first border. And she used a print in here. See, on the other board, it's all solids. Well, no, she used the same idea, though. That border's the same color.
Yeah.
So, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, some of those, see where your arrow is, those, the pattern pieces look like they're wider to me. Well, it could be the angle that you took that picture.
Well, the thing was, I have her templates that
Yeah.
she designed and cut.
Yeah.
She used the same templates for each quilt. I think it's a combination of where I was standing when I took each of these pictures. Well, it was pretty much in the same spot.
Actually, go back to the other one. Yeah, it could be the angle too. I don't know.
Yeah. Or it could be the fact that this one's all solids and this one's got the prints, and the prints maybe make it look a little bit
different.
I don't know. Because it is the same design. The other thing too is the quilting in this. I noticed she didn't do any quilting in the solid pieces. She did do quilting in the borders, and there is quilting. You can barely see it because of the busyness of the fabric, but it is there. But there's none in the solid pieces, and I thought there were ones in the one I have, but no, it's the same. She did not I think she changed the quilting design. I just realized that. This is a circle, this is a point. This is a circle, this is points. Oh, it's a
Yeah,
totally different
yeah.
pattern. Oh, I hadn't noticed that either. Let you know a little secret. We've already gone through this, and then I had to stop the video because I realized that no one could see the quilts because I didn't push the right button. So we're redoing it now. And now we're seeing things that we didn't see before. So yeah, that quilting in that.
And you've got rounded corners on this one.
Yeah, well, that's why I said the rounded corners. See, this one's got square corners. But yeah, the patterning, the pattern's totally different. Did not notice that before. Interesting. Of course, both quilts are hand done, like hand pieced, hand quilted, the whole bit. So this still took her a long time. And she did it from her own original templates that she made. Now there's a close-up of the quilting on the blue one. And you can see, you know, it's all hand stitched. And my grandmother won awards for her sewing throughout the years in different things. And she was a girl. She was an excellent hand sewer. And this shows you the back of it a little bit more. Now, something about both of these quilts, though, that's kind of interesting. They're very light. I don't think there's any batting. In fact, well, these quilts were made late 70s, very early 80s at the most. So circa 1977 to 1981 kind of a thing. And, you know, in those days, quilting, getting fabric and everything for them was not
so
what
the
we have today.
stitches do sort of like sink in. So you wonder if there's
Something in there. I noticed the weight difference though. When you lift this one and you lift this one seems flimsier for some reason. So I don't know. Now, it was not unusual, and somebody wrote about this as a comment. One wrote, my grandmother would sometimes use a flannel sheet inside because maybe there was no batting available. And that's a possibility, a very thin sheet. Somebody else wrote, I've heard of people making summer quilts. They would only use the front and back with no batting. I don't think that would have been the case with this. I don't think she designed this to be a summer quilt kind of thing. But there's definitely does not feel like a quilt that we would make today with all 3 layers in it. It doesn't feel as heavy. Now, maybe that's also, I'm not sure if the fabric is polyester or a polyester blend or 100% cotton. I think it might be a polyester blend by the feel of it. It's kind of got a bit of a sheen to it and a bit slippery feeling. So I don't know. I mean, it's still a beautiful quilt. And I've got both of them now. Those two. Wonder if my sister, where hers is. Now my sister's.
Which one she have? The pink one?
Yeah, I think hers is pink with it. And then the other 2 went to my cousins. And, well, heaven only knows where those quilts are now. But anyways, I thought that was really interesting that somebody wanted to see these together. And, of course, you do know that I did my own version of this quilt some time ago before I had Lucy. I decided to do it the 21st century way. Well, 1, I wanted it in blue. And 2, the way I made my quilt was I used my embroidery machine. So these essentially look like a drunkard's path, but I didn't have to worry about sewing curves. What I did was I cut out a square of fabric that is 4 times larger than the square you see out of this one color. And I cut out a circle, and I took my measurements from my grandmother's quilt and from her templates. I put the circle in the center of, no, I didn't use my embroidery machine. I used a little attachment for my sewing machine. That does, you can do a decorative stitch and it spins your fabric around, kind of like a record, you know, a phone.
You spin me right.
Spin me, right, yeah. And I did a satin stitch around them. Then I cut each of those square blocks into 4 pieces, 4 equal pieces, and that's how I got what looks like a drunkard's path, which is the style of her quilt. You see? But I didn't have to worry about doing I didn't have to worry about doing sewing a curve, because at that point I had never really sewn a curve and I was afraid of it. I have done that since, still don't like it. So I was using 21st century technology for mine, and I didn't put the prairie points on it because I hate prairie points, as you well know. And I do like my quilt. I think it turned out very nice. And of course, because I didn't have Lucy, I quilted it on my domestic using my walking foot and a serpentine or wavy stitch line. And actually, I was going to say that quilt, I didn't have any mistakes in it. Everything lined up pretty good. Yeah. See any mistakes?
Nope.
Good. Don't go there. Okay, so there it is. A little history on my grandmother's quilts and how those all fit into my life. All right. Um, okay, here's another thing though that I found really interesting. Heidi wrote, perhaps that quilt made by her grandmother was meant as a bedspread. I know that the pattern, that's the wedding ring variation of the Drunkard's Path block. What? She says there's a pattern for this. I have my grandmother's templates. She took cereal boxes, cut them open. She drew a grid system. I think the grid lines are a 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch apart. She drew those all out. Then she had other cardboard where she cut out templates for these shapes in here. And that's what she did. However, I decided to look this up. I mean, I don't want to call Heidi a liar because I'm sure she's not. And this is what I found. Pattern, Drunkard's Path wedding ring variation. Look at it. It is exactly the same. That's the block. But that's the they show why do these people do this on their websites? But you see, they show, there you go. That's if you sew, which my grandma did. She sewed curves. And then you build it out from there. So that's interesting. Now, it means, okay, is this something somebody developed later on? Has this always been around? Why did my grandmother do it as templates instead of doing like buying a pattern? Or did or were there weren't any templates yet?
Or were patterns widely available then?
That's a good question. I don't know. But that was a really interesting thing, you know. So
so maybe her intention was
guess what I didn't do? Nobody can see what we're talking about because I forgot to hit the button again. So I'm going to hit the button now. Here it is. Sorry about that, people. My brain. I've had 2 shots and a lot of blood taken out of me today. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Okay, here's what we've been just talking about, okay? This wedding ring variation of a Drunkard's Path. So you can see the similarities, right? Well, similar, it's exactly the same. Exactly. And if you put all those blocks together, you're going to get my grandmother's quilt. So, yeah, so you're saying like maybe there weren't many patterns. I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe there weren't very many patterns. Maybe all the pattern, maybe in those days they had to, I don't know if your grandmother was a part of a sewing group or not, but
I don't know if she was.
Maybe they sort of shared ideas between each other rather than, I mean,
maybe
in those days there wasn't internet, there wasn't internet, and there wasn't the communication.
There would have been magazines
around.
Maybe she saw it in a magazine or something and decided she liked that design and decided to try and make her own pattern for it. I don't know. You know, these are things that inquiring minds want to know. And I'm screwing around here now with my computer because I did something I shouldn't. Oh, I am so off the game today. Drugs. It must be drugs. I can't even think here. Let me think. Okay. I don't want these 2 pictures to come up here. Okay. Anyways. Okay. Bear with us, people. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Not my usual. Or maybe it is. Okay. So, anyways, that's about my grandmother's quilt. All those things are very curious. Thank you for those of you that made comments and made suggestions and everything, because it really gives me even more insight into the history of this quilt. Okay, so other comments that we had. Somebody wanted to know, and this was based upon my vlog this week where I was talking about my 3D printers. How long have you had your 3D printers and why did you start using them? Well, I've had them now for what, 3, 4 years? How long did I get my
Well,
first
I
one
thought
before?
you kind of got it during the pandemic, so I have a feeling you got your first one in 2020.
Yeah, may have been. So this is 2020. So I've had them for about 3 years. Started with one, I've worked my way up to three with them. I've learned a lot in that time, a lot. There is quite a learning curve with 3D printers, and anybody who watches my vlog, and I always have a segment on the 3D printing corner, and you've heard me talk about the learning curve and different things about it. But the one question here that really sparked my interest is why did you start using them? That is a really good question. I guess it's because I'm always interested in things that are technology, and I'm always interested in things that make things using
Yeah, and
technology.
for a long time, even before you bought one, we had heard about
Yeah,
3D printer printers. And if you're like us, we like gadgets and electronics and things like that. So, um, uh, it's one of those things that we always thought, oh, okay, they would be really nice to have, but
it'd be cool.
it's the technology isn't there yet for us to own one, right?
Yeah,
So
a good year before I ever even made the plunge to buy one, I bought a book and I read the book from cover to cover all about 3D printing. And it was a sort of a buyer's guide to what you need to know before you decide which 3D printer you want to buy and stuff like that. And at that time my conclusion was the technology is not advanced enough yet for home use of 3D printers because they talk about building them. They don't come in one piece in a box. They do now, some do. They are becoming more plug and play, but at the time they were 1,000 pieces. Ask Walter, he'll tell you, because the first one we got took us over 3.5 hours to put together. And we were watching a video about it, reading the instructions, cursing and swearing, yelling at each other
and
through
even
it all.
after it was put together, you had to adjust it to get it to work properly because certain things weren't what you thought you may have
Yeah.
assembled properly. It wasn't. And then there were things that you found out that the springs that came
Yeah.
included with the 3D printer aren't very good and wear out quickly or aren't as good as aftermarket ones. So somebody else that we contacted suggested to get new springs right away. So we got new springs right away and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a bit of a journey.
If you're the kind of person that likes to tinker with mechanical and computer pieces and technology, you'll love a 3D printer because you'll see it as a challenge and you'll learn. And I have. I mean, I can rebuild these things from scratch.
Yeah, like he's moved way beyond what I would have ever done with a 3D printer because I don't like having to fix those kind of things.
Well, I didn't say that I liked having to do it. I had to do it because it's not like you can take it to a store. Well, that's not true now either, but there are places that sell them where they will service them as well. But at the time, I didn't have any place, and there were many times when I thought I would just like to take the whole thing and throw it out, and cut my losses. Um, are they expensive? Not really. It depends on how much you want to spend. Mine are
Depends on
about
what you consider expensive.
mine are about $300 a piece. They're good beginner machines to get you into it. They're fairly reliable, but you can go up in price to a couple of $1,000s or more, depending on what it is. And because you've spent a couple of $1,000s more, does not mean you will not have problems with it. Okay. So, for me, this was a learning process. I learned a lot about it. But why did I want to start using them? Did I have a specific thing in mind that I wanted to make? Some people do. No, I don't know what the heck I was going to make with it. It
Yeah,
was
you
there.
just
It was technology. It was COVID. I was bored. I thought it would be fun. So I did. Since then, well, you've seen it. I've made all kinds of different things. And yeah, and I have made a lot of things that are sewing related as well, quilting related, that kind of thing. Most of them are novelty items in a sense, like my giant thimble garbage can, my gnome pin cushion, all that kind of stuff. But I think they're fascinating, and they're getting better all the time. And yeah, it's a hobby. It's a hobby. I just noticed, I said to Walter, I almost bought one just to see how badly it would be. You can go on Temu, you can buy a little tiny 3D printer for 18.99 Canadian. I have seen some reviews about these tiny little ones. They tote them as basically a toy for children. Um, you got hot components there. I don't think you want a 4-year-old or 3-year-old touching that. I don't know. Or maybe they don't even do anything. I don't know. I am so tempted to buy one. Just, okay, cost me $20, get it under the free shipping thing, and put it together and see what happens. I don't even think you have to put them together. I think they're already together. You pull them out of the box just as a lark, kind of a thing to see. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I don't know. I'm curious. Anyways, but I know for sure.
Do they not have any YouTube videos on it?
Oh yeah, there's YouTube videos out there. I've seen some. Then some of them do work. But everybody's the same way. They bought it because they can't believe it was that cheap, and what can it do? Like, work on it. But maybe I'll explore that idea a little bit further. But anyways, if you're interested in getting a 3D printer, don't go in with the attitude that everything that's broken in your house you'll be able to replace by making a 3D thing to it, because that's not going to be the case. But if you're somebody who knows how to use AutoCAD for designing, what's the matter? Cheer up your bum or what?
Yeah, my bum's close.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Right.
I'm
tired of sitting. Anyway, go ahead. You're making me sick.
I'm looking for a co-host. Please apply. Okay. Anyways, like I was saying, and he put me right off track here. If you know how to use AutoCAD or want to learn to use an AutoCAD program for designing parts, you'll get a lot more use out of your 3D printer. But the learning curve is extremely steep, and you've got to be dedicated to learning. I am not that dedicated, so I haven't learned. Okay, somebody else wrote, okay, you could fix the problem. We were talking about the batting scissors I bought from LDH last week, and how they're really great scissors that this company makes. I love it. We have different pairs of their scissors. But I bought these batting scissors. They're 14 inches long. Their shears are sharp, and they're very, very pointy. And here, this is what I'm talking about. Those black scissors, 14 inches long. They're meant for cutting batting, and they're very sharp, and they're very pointy. And those points on the ends of those scissors, as you're trying to cut through your batting, get caught in the loft. And somebody wrote me back a week or so ago when I was talking about this, said, maybe you could take it to somebody that could cut off the very points and blunt them. Well, that isn't actually a bad idea, but I don't want to tamper with these scissors. These scissors cost me $80 before tax and shipping. So these aren't cheap scissors. So I don't want to really damage them. Now, I did write, as you know, I said last week, I wrote to LDH and made this suggestion, that they would work better if they had a blunted end. The answer I got back was, I don't know if it was one of those pat answers or not, but oh yeah, we'll have to consider that in the future. Thank you for letting us know. Which to me says, yeah, we've got this design now. It would cost us too much to redesign them and everything. So, go away, kind of a thing. But this person came up with an idea. She said, you could fix the problem with the batting scissors yourself really easily. A small piece of reasonably thick plastic tubing. Cut a small piece off, enough to cover about 4 to 6 millimeters of the tips. Put it on and heat shrink the plastic tubing to the scissors. The end can be rounded with heat as well. This wouldn't ruin your scissors, and you would fix the problem in a few minutes. Well, I thought, there's something to that idea. I happen to have plastic tubing, and you can see it here in the picture. And so I cut off a couple of pieces, and I just fitted them over the edges of the scissors. I did try to heat shrink them, but I don't have something that's hot enough to do it. It was just the plastic was just going like weird. So I didn't bother. So I tried cutting on a sample piece of batting. Guess what? They don't catch in the batting because the little points aren't sticking into the lofting. Now, there is a problem with this. One, if you were to close the scissors completely up, and you'll notice up here on the end, there's a little clip. These are spring loaded. and there's a little clip up here. Where's my cursor? There it is. Right up here. Okay. That closes the scissors up completely. Well, when you do that, you cut the plastic off and they drop off. But that's not a big problem for me in the sense that what I do is I just put them back in their box and that keeps them closed enough that it doesn't cut the plastic, but this stays. Now, I haven't actually tried them out yet in a full real life situation. I just tried them on a long sample piece of batting, a scrap. Where the real test will come is when I've got things laid out on Lucy and I'm cutting my batting, then we'll see how that works with it. But I thought that was actually a pretty good idea. So thank you to, who sent me that? The Empty Nest Crafter sent that to me. So thank you for that. So some other comments here that we had. One was about you don't need a man cave. I referred to Walter's shed as a man cave. Your whole house is a man cave. About the scissors, is there any way to 3D print some kind of nub to glue onto the side of the point? Only on one side so the other part can still slide along it. There might be, but I don't think I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to find something that would work. Like I said before, if I knew how to use AutoCAD, I might be able to design something for that. The other problem is getting them to stick to the scissors. This is I don't know what kind of steel this is, but
yeah. So if you're trying to do it only one side, then it might be difficult to find something that
yeah,
works.
that's going to do it. So yeah, but it's still an idea. And then another one about batting as well said, hi, new subscriber. I'm curious as to how you store your batting. I have mine hanging on the wall with brackets. They are about 10-inch brackets. I believe they are closest brackets because they're closet brackets because I have the batting in the wooden rod that hooks on either end of the brackets. So when I pull down the amount of batting I need, I'm not cutting against a table, just the batting that is hanging down from the roll. Well, that sounds like a really great idea, and I have thought of that. My problem is I do not have the space to be able to do something like that. What I do is my batting, I buy it by the 30-yard rolls. It sits underneath my Lucy. I can get 4 batting rounds, 4 batting, what's the word I want? Rolls. That's the word I want. Rent it to use your lips. I should go back here. I can get 4 of them underneath Lucy. And that fits fine. And that's basically how I store it. They come in plastic bags. I leave the plastic bags on them. I take them off when I roll out the batting to cut it. And then I put the plastic back around it just to protect it from dust and everything else. And that's how I store mine, basically. I do like this person. This is Anchorage Hockey 1100. I do like your suggestion. I wish I had the space to do that because that would make life really easy. Because there it is. It's on a roll. You put it down, you chop it off, away you go. That would be perfect. May have to redesign the Lucy room. Don't know how. It's packed with stuff now. With it all. But thanks for the suggestion. Okay, so that's all we have today. Walter's already bored. He's looking into space, catching flies.
I'm
whatever.
tired today. I got up early.
Oh, Walter took me to the doctor, but I figured he might as well suffer too because it was his idea I go. He's very good at suggesting that. He has a love affair with the doctor.
I don't know. I don't mind her. She's okay.
She's all right. You just run off to the doctor all the time,
Well, no, she asked me to come all the time. So
no, she likes you.
she says she likes
Billing hours.
Yeah, I know, billing hours. Actually, technically not. Apparently, doctors, according to what I've read, they get a certain amount for each patient, and regardless how many times they see them.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
So it's not like she necessarily makes more by you seeing you more. So.
That might be an interesting topic for a future video.
But I don't know if that's true. I just read that.
Oh, you're just making it up. Okay. Whatever. I'm sure you can find out whether that's true or not. You're very good at researching. But anyways, we digress. Okay, so that's it for us today. Thanks for joining us. I hope there may be something here you found interesting. So give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe because it's with your help that I can continue. We can continue bringing. Oh, that's bullshit. I'm not going there. Say goodbye, Walter.
Bye.